Hey, welcome back. My name is Jen. This is Views from my backyard. I'm going to talk about ways that I have failed the principles in a book called Set for Life. This is a book that I've been listening to on Audible. It's called Set for Life by Scott Trench. I'll put a picture of it up on the screen. Chapters talks about saving your way to your first 25,000. It uses a lot of the principles of frugality. These are some concepts that I had not really ever even thought about, and I'm kind of like at the point where I'm 51, and my home is almost paid off. So I'm at the point where retiring early is probably not going to be a concept for me, which unfortunately I wish I had I wish I had come across these things when I was much younger, before I did things like buy this house. I bought this house over 20 years ago. It's very large. It is over 2,000 square feet. It is more than enough for me. Unfortunately, there's no real way to turn part of the house into an apartment. I could get a roommate, but I really don't want somebody else living in my space. Not I would really have to trust the person a lot to do that. So one of the first principles was to not buy an expensive home. One of the other ones that involved frugality was living close to where you work so that you can walk or bike to work. I've never really lived close enough to work to do any of that. Right now, I live 25 miles from my job, and the roads that I'm on are back roads. I live in the middle of nowhere, and it's around a 40-minute to 45-minute travel time. So I failed. I did buy a new vehicle. My purpose behind buying it was because I have a business where I have, sometimes I still do, and I was bringing a lot of merchandise to various areas to sell them, and this vehicle is perfect for that. But I didn't have to buy a brand new one. I could have bought a used one, but that is how it is. So those are three ways so far that I have failed the living frugality concepts that he has been talking about. I don't believe he talked about college debt. While I don't regret going to college, I am not really sure at this point in time that I'm using my degree. I know that I've had better opportunities in my employment life because I've had a degree. So there is that. That has helped me out a little bit. I don't believe he was one of the authors that really discusses not going to college. College is very expensive, and these days there's a lot of things you can do without having to go to college. Another thing that I don't think he mentioned this in the book, and this'll throw a lot of shade on people. Will throw a lot of shade on me for this one because I do a lot of shorts with my dog. But owning a pet, that is not it is not frugal to own a pet. They say I've read that um, pets can cost you over like $5,000 a year. This year, I have spent or will spend $1,700 on Barlow. That is vet costs, that is food. Fortunately, I didn't have to board him anywhere when I went on vacation. He was able to stay at my parents' house. But that is that is quite an expense that I will definitely justify that. I do like having a companion in the house, even though he's not really a roommate, but he does keep me company. So there is that. I do like having him, and I don't think that I will ever not have a pet out of frugality reasons. Just because it's nice to have somebody around, especially somebody that's not really going to argue with you about things. So, these are the ways that I have failed in the principles for Set for Life. I did listen to the book all the way through a couple times. It did give me some good ideas. At this point in time, I don't see myself selling the house and buying something closer to work. I'm almost I'm almost at the end of my mortgage. I think I have 5 to 7 years left on the mortgage. It's a hard choice to sell and move somewhere closer and somewhere smaller. I wish I had known those kind of concepts before. Not that I would necessarily pack up and move in between jobs, but it does give me ideas of what I can do for the future because when I do retire, I am going to want to move somewhere that's a little bit warmer, someplace that has a little less acreage than this. And at that point in time, I won't have to work. I hope that I'll still have my truck around because I really enjoy using that. But I wouldn't mind buying a property that is a multifamily home with some acreage so that I can do the things that I want to do. And they can also have some backyard space too. I would like to buy something that is in a rural area that is not necessarily too close to people. But I guess if I could go back and do it differently, I would. But since I'm here and I'm almost at the finish line, there's really not much point in selling and going somewhere cheaper. That is my interpretation of how I failed saving for my first 25,000. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.